Hey, B. I'm not talking. Not unless you giving me likes. You commenting, sharing, subscribing. Oh, okay. Well, let's get into some things then. Listen, I want to talk about Real Housewives. Again, we have to get into more of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, this has been a super explosive episode that dropped on Sunday. And that was when Kenya Moore gave us the grand opening, and some would say a grand closing as well, because she, after her event, it appears, decided to expose Miss Brit Eady. And it has been chaos amongst the fans. Okay, you have a lot of people that feel like that's what she gets, and then you have a lot of people that feel as though it was completely unfair to Kenya Moore, all right, with how they handled everything. And what I want us to get into just a bit is reality blurb. So shout out to them. They have two different articles that I want us to touch on. I also want us to get into Kenya Moore's response to Andy Cohen's co-host on his radio show when they discussed, what all transpired on this episode. Kenya Moore fired back, but get this, Miss Porsha Williams has her own YouTube channel now, and Miss Girl done dropped a little bit of peace. Okay, she done gave us some things, and we're definitely going to get into it. And she speaks on Drew and Dennis specifically, amongst other things. All right, so I did, jot down a few things that we're going to get into, but also we're going to listen to a bit of what Porsha had to say. All right, so in the meantime, in between time, make sure you're liking up this video, and we're about to go ahead and get into some things. First things first, let us go ahead and pull up this article over here. So they're saying Real Housewives of Atlanta star Porsha Williams supports Brit Eady after drama with Kenya Moore. All right. And, Miss Brit also got down in the comments, and she has some things to say to the fans. Now, we all know what all transpired between Brit. Brit was feeling as though Kenya had been shading her for some time now. So when she finally got the opportunity to ask her some questions, I guess she didn't like the response, and she took it even further by making, some sorts of threats in Kenya's direction. All right. And, things, got worse after that. So Brit, which is interesting, hasn't been doing a lot of interviews or anything. I haven't seen her do any yet. She's been pretty quiet for the most part, but she did take the time out to step out and let people know, I'm still standing. Okay. Strong, and no matter what. It's giving Tisha Campbell, I'm still here. Okay. I'm still here. That's the energy that she's leading with, okay? Now, she also goes on to let people know, hey, listen, negativity will be blocked. Enjoy your day. Tune in tonight. All right. Somebody says you will be gone next season. She says, honey, don't forget to set your DVRs. Keep watching. And that keep watching makes me feel that she may feel that there's going to be some sort of vindication or something coming in her direction. Who knows? But she's telling the people to keep watching. All right. Now, someone else responds to her and says, not for long, but go off. She says, enjoy the show, sweetie. Okay. She's firing back with simple and sweet clapbacks. All right. For the people. Now, Porsha responds in the comments and says, still fire. And Brit says that part. Okay. That part. So she feels like, hey, I'm still here, girl, at the end of the day. Now, someone else tells her to enjoy the season. So that's what they have going on over there with Brit. Just Porsha supporting her in this moment, and Brit just reminding the fans that, hey, I'm still here, whether you guys like it or not. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at your girl. Okay. Leave your thoughts about it. But we're going to get into what Miss Kenya had to say. Okay. Let's hop over to that. So they're saying that Kenya Moore shares what was cut out of Real Housewives of Atlanta episode amid the drama with a co-star Brit. All right. So they go on, and I want us to just really scroll down to where there was a comment placed over on Twitter. And the person says, so none of them heard the pistol comment, but Kenya? Is that what we're saying? It seems like Porsha is the only one that believed her, but damn. So it was really Kenya versus everybody. Well, the proof is there now. Okay. So what's next, Bravo? Y'all got y'all proof. Well, Kenya responds and she says, Porsha and I stayed behind as I talked to the showrunner. She says Porsha saw my reaction and was concerned. The producer called security to walk me to my car that wasn't there. All right. She couldn't find her car. We did see where she hopped in the vehicle with Porsha. Porsha drove her around somewhere. I don't know if she drove her around to another part of the parking lot or something. And maybe that's when security walked her to her vehicle. Not necessarily sure, but this is what Kenya is saying. So it seems like production was made aware of what happened. Obviously, they were standing right there when it happened. But as far as they were willing to take it, it appears was to give her an escort to her vehicle, and then also encourage Brit to apologize to Kenya. And y'all know Kenya is not accepting no apologies right out the gate. Okay. So that is what Miss Kenya said, giving people an additional insight into that. Someone says, so Kenya Moore sharing internet screenshots is enough for Bravo to cease filming with her, but Brit threatening her with a gun the week prior was not concerning behavior to Bravo. Interesting. All right. So we got into all of that. If you guys have not watched my Real Housewives of Atlanta review, definitely go and check that out. We definitely talked about that because I'm trying to understand what has Miss Kenya Moore done, because Bravo could have completely not even shown any of that to us. Like I said, they give us a lot of previews and things, but they edit it out. A lot of things that's shown in the previews aren't even shown throughout the season. So it would have been nothing for them to remove that out if they felt like it was going to be some sort of a legal issue. Okay. And it's hard to say that they really wanted Kenya out, because if they really wanted her out, some part of me is like, well, hey, they didn't have to invite her back for another season. So it makes me feel like they may have wanted her there, but I don't know where things could have gone wrong. All right. Not necessarily sure what could have gone wrong, but that's where we are at this particular time. Okay. Of course, Miss Kenya does go on to shade Cynthia, as Cynthia has been doing interviews that have been a bit disappointing. By no means am I saying that Cynthia should have been pleased with Kenya's actions, right? If you feel that your friend did not operate in the best way that you know that they can, I feel like it's totally okay to say that. However, but to fully embrace and accept Miss Brit, like, I feel a way about that, because for you to be Kenya's friend as long as you have, you should know that when she does something, chances are she is responding to something. So obviously Brit did something, and then now you're even seeing what it is that she's done, and you're still kind of like, oh, well, she made a mistake. You're saying she's made a mistake, but then at the same time, you're saying what she did was totally wrong and she should have never. So I'm like, well, which one is it? Okay. However, that's what's going on. They're still not talking to each other at this time. Kenya reposting a post that Nene made about Cynthia many years ago kind of confirms that for now that friendship is done. I tell you one thing, if they were to bring Miss Kenya Moore back, it would be quite a bit entertaining, because it seems like Miss Kenya would have a bone to pick with majority of the cast, if you ask me. Okay. Maybe not Kelly, maybe not Drew, somewhat Angela, because she was giving Flip and a floppy. She'll have a bone to pick with Porsha, not feeling Brit. She would have to, pounce on Miss Cynthia just a bit, and it seems like she is in a decent space when it comes to Kelly, right? So I mean, it would still be entertaining. I feel like there is still room for Miss Kenya Moore to be a part of the new season if Bravo is willing to have her. But can I also say, after we get into this next portion about Kenya, I don't know anymore. I am a bit concerned. I do not know. Miss Kenya. Whew. I don't know, guys. I just, it's the audio from Andy Cohen, okay? Andy had 2 guests on his show. And with those 2 guests being on his show, they had some things to say about Kenya. Kenya's response to them is what kind of makes me feel like, I don't know if she's going to be back, because Kenya's not going away quietly, right? So y'all leave y'all thoughts down below, but we're going to get into this audio and then we'll get into what Kenya had to say.
What happened is that Brit made a comment at the end of last week's episode, like, I have a gun and a whip, or something like that.
I saw that.
And on this week's episode, they all said to Brit that you can't say that shit. And she was like, yeah, you're right. Whatever. She shows up to Kenya's opening of her gorgeous salon, which is beautiful, that Kenya has worked so hard on, that she dedicated to her daughter. And it's this big event, opening it with all these people there. And Brit comes in and brings her flowers and says, I want to apologize to you, and a note. And Kenya totally ignores her, like totally. And Brit's like, okay, I'm just going to leave these here. And Brit leaves. And then Kenya gets up and makes her whole opening about someone came after me and they shouldn't have. And I started looking into who this woman is, and this is who she is. And she starts showing pictures of her.
With like poster board that she printed out.
And this is like
one of the pictures is
revenge
her.
porn type.
Yes.
Okay.
One of the pictures is her like,
oral sexing.
Yeah. And so the Atlanta Housewives are like, we're out. We don't want any. The place like clears out.
Yeah.
And then there's and Cynthia said, in all my time at the show, this is the lowest I've ever seen anything get. And
now, what is this glitter bracelet you have on underneath?
It's glitter tape. Ben put it on me. He covered me in glitter tape.
It's very eye-catching and beautiful.
I know, it actually is. It's glitter tape.
I like it. It's diamonds.
For Ben, yeah.
Oh, I'd like that.
I have glitter tape everywhere.
Oh, bring me some.
I
put it around my cock.
Oh my God. Anyway, so that's what, and then there's a slide at the end of the show that says, Bravo, stop filming with Kenya after this.
Well, they say like, there's all this talk of, after the Me Too movement, it's like if you show someone a dick pic or a nude pic without them saying, yes, I would like to see that right now, that's like sexual assault. You can't just go around being like, hey, someone did it to me the other day. I was at a workout class and they were like, hey, look at this guy from last night. And I was like, I didn't ask to see that right now.
Right. Yes, Jordan?
Well, I was going to say, the bad part of it and the sad part of it was that, like you said, it was Kenya's opening of her store that she's worked so hard for, and that it's been Kenya Moore hair care for years. Yes. And it was like a big moment for her.
Why
and
did she do that?
She should have been celebrating herself, but instead she used the time to like do revenge porn and bring somebody else down. And at the end of the day, it was such a bad look for Kenya.
Yeah.
All right. So this is what Kenya had to say about all of that. Kenya says the two co-hosts are extremely ignorant. She says SA is RAPE. Remember, that's what Phaedra accused Kandi of attempting to do to Porsha. Revenge P, if someone showed Kim K SEX tape to you, is that revenge P? Yay. She says, I found that plus tons of others online. She signed a release for it, so it's fair. Receipt. Child, that's crazy. She signed a receipt for it. Or at least a release, not a receipt, but still. I'm on a pause because I'm like, what the hell did you just uncover, Kenya? That she signed a release for it? Ooh, that's crazy. She goes on to say, warning, if you're not an attorney and familiar with Georgia law, then shut the fuck up. She says, sick of the bias and selective outrage. These comments should not have aired. It's a podcast. Where is legal? Okay. You don't want activated Kenya. I shouldn't have shown at my event, but for the love of God, why would they ignore a clear gun threat? Okay. So that is what Kenya is having to say at this time. She shouldn't have shown it at our event. They also should not have ignored the threats coming from Brit Eady. Okay. I think everyone across the board is having some selective outrage. Okay. Not just the people that don't like her or the people that feel like she should be gone. I think some of the people that may feel everybody just outraged and is giving selective. Okay. That's all that I'm saying. Everybody. Whew, girl, it's a mess, honey. It's a mess. And I really, really, really hate that we are here with it. I'm not going to hold you. I really hate that we are here with it because I would have much rather have seen Kenya spend the rest of this season ragging and tagging Brit every chance that she got versus just that one putting it all out there. But when it comes to Kenya, it's good luck. It's good luck to Kenya. I'm hoping we see her again, but I don't know, girl. And the way that she got in the comments and responded to Andy, I am a little concerned that we may not see her for another season or two. Who knows? Okay. So we shall see. Leave your thoughts down below. But in the meantime, in between time, we have to talk about Miss Porsha Williams. Okay. Porsha Williams has said, listen, Since everybody's down on the YouTube running their mouths and collecting a piece of a check for it, then let me run on down there and run my mouth just a little bit too, okay? Y'all let Kandi do it. Y'all done sat up there and let Heavenly do it. Shamea get to do it. The girl T over there married to Medicine get to do it. Well, guess what? I'ma do it too. Punchinella from the zoo. Okay, so she is coming down to the people. And I'm not mad at it. I am not mad at it. What I will say is, Porsha, do not come down to the YouTube and get on our nerves like Dr. Heavenly. Okay? Being loud and trying to change narratives and not telling the facts and truths on people. Don't be that person, please. Don't do that to us, okay? If you want to fill in a few of the blanks for things that was hidden to get us to understand certain things, that is fine. But you ain't got to give us too much, okay? Because you give me too much, girl, I might be thinking you lying about something, all right? So you ain't got to give me a whole lot. Just give me a little piece, okay? But Porsha comes down to the internet. She gives people, pretty much a tour in that man's house because she's still in Simon's house. And Miss Porsha is feeling very encouraged because, girl, Simon probably ain't even in America no more, honey. After ICE came here and snatched him up, he's probably not even here anymore, so she's feeling even more comfortable being around, filming, and all of that, in his home. Because I'm sure if he was still around, he would give her pushback on filming in the house and stuff like he did with Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I'm sure he would have an issue with that. So she is feeling very much so relieved. Okay, she is. So she wants to come down and she wants to chat about it. And at this time, I'm not even mad about it. All right. Porsha says that she's ready to keep it honest and she's ready to keep things open. She gives us a little bit of the tour of the house, shows us the dog, told us she's going to be getting her breasts done, redid. She got them done 10 years ago. She finna get them redone. It's going to be like a revenge body. Her revenge boobs is what she's calling it. And what's going to make her channel, I guess, a bit different is that she's not just going to be talking about housewives. It's more so going to be about her. So I guess she's trying to do like a lifestyle channel where she shows people when she gets her different surgeries or whatever. Where if she's remodeling something or whatever it is, you're just going to be able to get more into the life of Miss Porsha, okay? So I'll follow her on that, okay? She says that she talked about Simon and how she stayed quiet for the most part when it came to him showing his R's down to the internet. And I'm like, Porsha, no, you did not stay quiet, so don't act like you did. You didn't, because you came back and said that man had ED, erectile dysfunction or whatever the case, so don't act like you was quiet. But she said she was trying to stay quiet out of respect for some people or whatever. So that's what she said. She also said that she's been through so much and people thought she left the show and didn't want to return because she was too afraid to face something or whatever. And she's like, girl, I'm Porsha Williams. Like, I have been a part of one of the toughest franchises, which is Real Housewives of Atlanta. So she's like, why the hell would I be afraid to like face them? But then she also says, I mean, I was kind of scared, like, I guess coming into this season or whatever. She did admit that she was a little afraid, but I guess at the time when she left the show, she's saying that she wasn't afraid to answer any questions or whatever. I feel like she kind of was, in my opinion. I do. I feel like she kind of was. I feel like when she says that she was a little scared now, clearly we can see. Because it seems like she spends more time on the Drew and Dennis situation, but how she tries to flip this in her on her episode, we're gonna get into it because it's really funny how she tries to flip it and make it seem as though they created this storyline for her versus the other way around. Like it's okay, girl. So Porsha also said that she says that she filmed with Kenya and Cynthia. She talks about, I guess talking about her divorce or whatever. Of course, she spoke on it with her mom. She said she filmed a scene with Cynthia, Kenya at her house, or at least at her mom's house. They didn't show that. So some things, of course, are not getting seen. And that's the stuff that I was saying. The stuff that you guys are showing us about Kenya and y'all ceased filming with her because of her actions in SHI. And if it was so bad that y'all needed to get rid of her, then y'all came out better not showing her at all and just give us more of what's going on in Porsha's life and everybody else's life because y'all film so much that you're not using. Okay, so that's that. She also goes on to address Shamea and being late at Shamea's party and said something about her filming. She was also filming. They were filming her getting ready. She was a little confused on why they filming her, even though she didn't finish her statement. I knew where she was going, saying, okay, you guys are filming me, but it ain't even my party. It's her party. So why are you even here filming me when you need to be filming her? So she says that's why she was a little late, traffic, of course, and it was raining. Yes, traffic here is super bad, especially when it's raining. But at the same time, Porsha, why you ain't mentioned that photo shoot that you and your mama had took before you had went to Shamea party? I don't recall you saying too much or nothing about that. But anywho, so she also refers to Shamea as her at first. I think she had did it like 2 different times. And I was like, whoo. Woo. I said, woo. They done broke up for real. Like, they not friends that you referring to her as her. But then at some point, she does say her name in the video. So I'm like, okay. Because, girl, I was a little concerned. Like, you don't even want to say. She said, because it wasn't about her. And I'm like, girl, who is her? Who is this her you speak of? We knew she was talking about Shamea. But, yeah, so I don't know, girl. Something done really happen. And I feel like whatever happened between Shamea and Porsha has been something that's been brewing for some time, unfortunately. And it then came to a head. And I really hate that. I really do. So hopefully we can see them get their friendship back together. Porsha talks about how during this time that she was filming, she was really just in survival mode, for real, for real. So when she came to Drew's house and she's ready to address things with Drew, when she came to Shamea's house ready to address things with Drew, she kind of wasn't at the same time, because in her head it's just like survival mode. But I think that's part of the reason why she was so upset with Drew, because she's thinking about survival mode. Because once she don't got that one storyline she was supposed to have, which is this glamorous life and being a housewife, truly. So now she has to pivot. And who can I rely on? I can rely on Dennis. I need Dennis to be a part of my storyline. But if Dennis is filming with somebody else and that's their storyline, then how can he actually be my storyline if he's filming with her and I don't know the capacity of their storyline? And I understand where Porsha is coming from. And she would like to have, quote unquote, known, I suppose. But at the same time, I just don't think that what Drew has going on with him had to impede on anything that Porsha had going on, which is why I feel like when you talk about survival mode, you were in survival mode of using them as part of your damn storyline to me. Okay, but she does go on. And I want us to hear what Porsha has to say, because she does go on to talk about talk about Dennis, Drew, and Ralph. So let's get into it.
So when it comes to the Dennis and the Drew, by the way, go pick up her album. I think it's great. I think she did a great job with this. And Baby Daddy, you did a good job too. All right? They did a good job. But I have to say this.
This lady crazy. I have nail color now. I might have to get that.
Or maybe I don't have to, but I want to. I don't believe it. I don't believe the storyline.
So we're gonna pause it right here. Okay. She says she don't believe the storyline when it comes to Drew, Dennis, and Ralph. Now, she also took like a long time in that time frame where she was taking a sip of her drink. Okay. And she came out and said that she's not believing it. But what I'm about to do is slow it down, because they sped it up. And I'm going to slow it down because I want to hear what Porsha is actually saying in this video. So let us go ahead and hop over so we can get into what Miss Porsha for real had to say.
I know. I really can see full picture now that the Dennis and Drew and Ralph, to me, feels like a made-up storyline between the 3 of them. I'm sorry. I think so.
And I'm looking forward to hearing how she thinks so, because what would be a made-up storyline if Drew literally and actually dropped the project with Dennis being a part of that? Can't say that's fake. So if it was something that was fake that I would agree with you on, would likely be the Drew and Ralph of it all. Because for him to want alimony, child support, take the kids, whatever, and then you're outside chatting with him, I don't know. Again, we know they shoot things out of order, so I don't know if that scene was shot before he started showing his arse in court or what. Okay? And then she said in a recent episode, everybody knows I'm getting a divorce, and that man is crazy. Meaning, if he probably caught her with somebody, he'll probably show his ass. That's what I was catching from it. So I don't know. Even though him downstairs in the basement, I feel like that could be a piece of fake. I don't know. I can see Drew and Ralph getting back together, y'all. I'm sorry. I really do. And it does come off as though Drew wanted the divorce and Ralph doesn't. But I think it's still a lot of love there still. And I also feel like, yeah, I can see them getting back together, y'all. But let's keep going. Let's listen to Porsha. Let me be quiet.
So, because just think about it. On this show, this is clearly my show and Drew's show, right? And the other wives, it's their show as well. But this is our platform, right? And a lot of people use the platform to like launch off whatever, and she's launching off music. So I feel like this plan of working together and doing something behind my back, like, you know, working together and all that, it was meant to be shocking to me. It was supposed to cause me to react like I did on the show, which would in turn make it a storyline and make it something that y'all would be interested in, which would make her album something to be interested in. And I'm gonna tell you why.
No, which would make her album something to be interested in. Her storyline being on the show in general is going to make her album something that we're interested in, right? Not so much as because you're attached to that.
Like I did on the show, which would in turn make it a storyline and make it something that y'all would be interested in, which would make her album something to be interested in.
Nah, girl. If that's the case, Porsha, Miss Williams, it's giving all four of y'all. It's a scheme that all four of y'all came to us with. Period. Okay, y'all done came and gooped us with it. If that's the case, all right. No, ma'am.
I'll tell you why. There's no reason that Drew, who could not have texted me and told me that they were going to be filming together or working together. And at the end of the day,
but she did say she texted you, and then she had showed messages where she's been trying to link up with you and have a conversation.
When it comes to whether they slept together and all that, that's none of my business. I never get in Dennis's personal life business and who he's sleeping with, and honestly, he don't need to be in mine. Okay, we don't do that. I'm only talking about like what would piss me off? What's gonna piss Porsha off? Oh, I know. Working with someone she's working with and not telling her. It's all principle at the end of the day. It's just principle. It's not like whether they want to be together or because if you choose who you choose and that's how it works out for you guys, great. Because nobody gets to choose who you're gonna fall in love with and whatever. In this life, if it happens, grab it. Okay, grab it. And who the fuck am I to speak on if you get with Dennis when clearly Simon, come on, we got together. Okay, what I'm saying? He was at the end of his divorce, had signed his settlement agreement, was waiting on the judge.
Girl, that man was not at the end of his divorce. Stop playing with these people, girl.
Like where I'm at right now. So if I date, don't judge me either, okay? It is what it is. And I feel like for them, if that's what they wanted to do, that's fine. But he knows he would be upset. Talking about Dennis, he would be upset if I went and worked with his person at the hot dog factory. Like, he would be mad. If he found out I was working with him.
I think she's right with that.
She's a better example. If I went and did a podcast with Ralph and she didn't know about it, she would be upset about it. No, I'm doing a podcast with him, film with him about it on the show. And by the way, give him an opportunity to possibly talk about her on the show.
Glad she said that.
This just makes sense. Y'all heard what Cynthia said? Cynthia said she would drag my ass or drag anybody if they call her baby daddy, okay? And Candiace said if anybody called Marky Mark with a nose ring, she was going to have a problem with that. So come on now, let's just be honest. It is what it is. It's just crazy. It's like weird energy. But the part where I think it's fake is because they got me to react. It worked, clearly. I mean, if anybody can get, touch a nerve with Porsha, it's going to be Dennis at the end of the day. There's some trauma there. There's some love there from back in the day. Look, he can get to you, okay? Your baby daddy can always poke whatever he needs to poke. When I was at Porsha, I was sitting at Porsha and I saw Ralph. And Ralph was like, hey, Porsha. And I was like, hey, how you doing? How you been? He was like, I'm good. And I was like, y'all straight now? He was like, what you mean? I was like, you and Dennis, are y'all straight? He was like, nah, man, I don't really understand what's going on with that. I don't really know. And I said, you don't really know? I said, y'all not cool? He was like, I don't know. We ain't cool. And I said, oh, okay, all right. I said, well, I thought y'all would have been passive by now. I thought y'all would have talked about it. He said, no. I said, oh, okay, all right. No problem. Fast forward, Dennis texted me, and he's like, what do you say? Drew is really upset. And I was like, what's she upset about? He's like, she got some flowers to the house and Ralph thinks they're from me. And I said, huh? I said, nobody nobody give a fuck about Drew. Like, I don't care what you tell me this for. He's like, I mean, just in case you want to use it for storyline. I said, Nick.
One, I believe this. I'm not gonna hold you. I feel like that is definitely something Dennis would do in case you want to use that for storyline, probably. So the whole time you mad, if Dennis is one to go in between people and feel like, oh, if you in case you want to use it for storyline, then if that's the case, I feel like you should be mad at your baby daddy. Okay, because he might be having Drew use him as a storyline, just like he over there trying to use your people to help elevate her career in some capacity. So the issue is always on y'all. And I feel like it's that Dennis, okay? If you ask me, I feel like you need to be mad at your baby daddy to me, okay? But we're going to get into it with the whole, if she was working with Ralph or whatever, and how Drew would react to that. So we'll get to that in a second.
Nobody gives a fuck about Drew right now. Not that I'm hating on the bitch, but I don't care. And so we got on the phone, and I thought to myself, did you just try to insert something into the storyline? Like, okay, that was weird. Fast forward again, Atlanta had their very first premiere party. Y'all remember that? We had our very first premiere party for our show. And I sent Dennis a message like, hey, you need to come to the premiere party. And he was like, what? And I said, yeah, you all over the show. And they're like, what you mean? Should you come? Yeah, I should come. We're in Fucking Beach. But he was like, oh, okay. He was like, well, you know what? If I come, but I may just come with Ralph then. I said, Ralph? He was like, yeah. I said, but I thought y'all was beefing. Me? He said, me? Why would I beef with Ralph? I said, oh, y'all beefing? He said, no. I said, oh, okay. I hung up the phone. I said, this man, I forgot that he said he was beefing with him. So I said, okay, all right, I got it. I see what's going on. This was the whole setup. This was all set up to sell this music, okay? And everybody is in on it at the end of the day. And they're just using it. So I'm leaving it there. But that's what I think. I think the whole Drew and Dennis of it all is fake. I also heard that Drew...
But how is that fake? I think two things could be true as far as it was used as a storyline, but I don't think that it's fake. Yeah, they may have concocted something for it to be a storyline, but it's not fake because she actually dropped music. So part of that, could be true. But I also feel like with you coming to this realization, in my opinion, I feel like you realized that it was like, well, shit, my storyline blew the hell up. Let me get in on what the hell y'all got going on then. Drew, I'm mad. I'm upset with you. You're full of shit. Okay? I'm happy again. I'm sad. I'm mad. I'm smiling. Like, that's what I feel that you was doing.
Was at, she was about to go to an event. Another housewife told me this, because we were like, I think this is fake. Another housewife was like, oh, there's this event coming up. And Drew was like, oh, I should invite Ralph to that. And the girl was like, Ralph? And she was like, oh, yeah, he and I, we just have a funny relationship like that. How is it funny? Is y'all going through a divorce or not? Because I tell you right now, I ain't inviting my estranged husband to nothing. Okay, not nothing. Here. Okay? So I was like, that's weird.
I know that's right, Porsha. Porsha ain't even going to invite the man to his own motherfucking house when he was in America. Okay? You can't even come to you. I'm not even going to invite you to the home. What the hell I look like inviting you to another event? Huh? What I look like? Okay, so I understand, Porsha. I get it, girl.
And so, I don't know. You know what we're going to do? Because we're watching the show together. We're going to all keep an eye on it.
Listen, we're going to all keep an eye on it. We're going to keep an eye on all four of y'all. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Because I don't trust none of you, mother. Not a single one do I trust out here. I don't, including you. Just a little piece, okay? Even though I do feel like it wasn't a lot of cap in your rap with that piece, okay? But let's get back to this one where she, what's her name? Drew kind of talks about the situation with Raph and all, and if it was her and how she would respond and everything. So let me try to get that up for you guys to check out in just a second. So here we go. Let's listen to this, okay? Because she was asked this question. So let's hop over.
Roles were flipped because she did a song or something like a while ago. So what if she was like, if Ralph or somebody, you know what I'm saying? Who's she? Porsha. Oh, okay. If she was trying to do music with your ex, you don't think you would feel away?
Porsha got how many followers?
I don't know.
Do that song. Do that song. Like, I mean, if that's what y'all decide to do, that's for our kids. Like, that's how I look at it. But, I'm also the girl that did a movie with Todd. The past. Yeah. Like, I did a play with Leon. I work. I'm the girl that's going to work. And, there was never anything inappropriate. So
like business is business.
Business is business, right? So, yeah.
Like if the roles were flipped.
So that is what Drew had to say. Okay, so if it was a podcast that Miss Porsha was going to do over with Ralph, Drew would have been in support of it. Okay, would have been in full support because she feels like it'll be for their kids. I don't know, child. It's either gonna be for the kids or it's gonna be for the household, Drew and Ralph included. So I don't know what's going on. But either way, good luck to everybody involved. All right. You guys leave your thoughts and comments down below about everything we got into, from Kenya Moore and her reaction to Andy and his co-host, to, you know, Miss Porsha and her doing this channel and speaking on Drew and everything and all of that. Let me know your thoughts about everything that we talked about. Of course, I'm Jami. That's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share my videos. You can follow me over on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky at JamiThatsMe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Tell him I preach to the choir. Stand with my feet to the fire. Give all the glory to God. Stand in the midst of these haters, I'm silent, nobody can stop me. Just gotta check in my notification, them numbers hit like it's a proxy. Cashed out at the ATM, and the ATL, they done made a gym. I've been kicking doors like the ATF, got them trying to clone me like Agent Smith. Game time, I invaded gym, high elevated, I could face the rim. Putting shots up, I got laser focus, about to take it over, I'm Invader Zim. On a trip to Florida like it's A&M. Who that nigga, man, they say I'm him. Spit the truth, never wasting film, I can fill a pool, we gon' make them swim. Nigga, free some man.